And here is my first look at CowanSim's latest machine, its new flagship, the Sikorsky S76C++. A kind of a missing link helicopter in our virtual hangars. A highly capable machine with airliner-style avionics, 1990s era avionics, which is going to be interesting to get our heads around, but a very stable machine with advanced autopilot functionality to help us get on our way safely and smoothly and easily once you know what you're doing. An interesting machine that's developed in MSFS 2020, and I'm testing it here in 2024. It is a Marketplace exclusive, MSFS Marketplace exclusive, US $37.99 or your local equivalent. So I reckon this is a great choice for offshore flying. So that's why I've chosen this British registered Bristow machine for some offshore flying from Bergen. Let's have a look. Let's fly. And you can think of this machine as a scaled-down baby Black Hawk. I know it doesn't really look like a Black Hawk, but Sikorsky in the 1970s saw potential to take their Black Hawk military machine and put a bit of a civilian spin on it. So they scaled down their drivetrain on that machine, put different engines on it. The C++ version has got Turbomeca Arriel turbo shaft engines on it, so it's like a bit of a twin squirrel arrangement in terms of its engines. Yes, in the 1970s, and developed this civilian-themed variant or spin-off of the Black Hawk, and this is what they came up with. I've chosen the offshore interior there. You can see it's got 12 seats squished in there. We'll get into that cabin soon. I've just popped open the cargo hatch there. You can see everyone's bags are on board. Let's just have a bit of a look here and see what we can see about the modelling. With its retractable undercarriage, you can imagine this is worth putting a bit of effort into, and it looks like they've done that there. Pretty good modelling. That lamp, is that painted on? It seems to be, but reasonable modelling in here. Texturing, not bad. Maybe a little bit glossy in some places, but with a weathered look painted onto it, I guess. Come up here and look at the fuselage. A little bit of dimensionality there. This would really benefit, I can just tell just from looking at this would so benefit from when it does hopefully get updated to MSFS 2024 standard, really benefit from that infinite texturing that it has, you know, where it's, you sort of get in close and that rich blue there will just be sort of infinite detail. Okay, so we've got some sort of studs and rivets there. That's what they look like. The screws. One of my viewers took me to task for failing to notice that another helicopter had all the screws torqued to the same position. That does not appear to be the case in this machine, so I hope you're happy with that. Alright, so that's those, and there we go. They won't put my face into that tail rotor. Again, this being a 2020 standard machine, we don't get the interpolation of the tail rotor and main rotor, so we don't get that native blur built in, which is a great way that MSFS 2024 helps out developers, I suppose, by putting in, sort of automatically putting in nice graphical features for you, so you don't have to sort of animate that sort of blur yourself. The simulator will do it. So, we're not there yet. Now, one thing I do notice here is that texture, like, that's good. That's like, because that's a diagonal, you'd expect a bit of a risk of pixelization there, and I'm really close. I'm really close. So that's good. So the exterior painted textures are looking like a decent resolution. I'm pleased with that. And we've got a bit of dimensionality there around the windows and frames. Not too bad. Yeah, good there. Bit of nice detail there on the windows. Good. All right. Yes. Now we've got we've got sort of custom models rather than 2024 default characters of your own choosing. There's that almost that Black Hawk style rotor hub. I'll show you that in the main review when I get around to doing that. There's our Nose wheel, looking pretty good. The animations on these are good, so there's a good, nice bit of flex in that suspension. Let's actually... Oh, don't whack my head on the door. What do we think of this? Reasonably sort of simple... oh, there was sort of popping in and out there with the... oh, let's zoom out here a bit. Alright, okay. There we go. It's just coming in and out with the sound, aren't I? So there we go. Reasonably simple interior. Sort of glossy texturing there. A little bit featureless on that column here. As I said, this is the optional offshore interior. You can have a luxury interior, or you can have a HEMS ambulance style interior. Let's just come through in here. We'll just fly through and have a quick look at the... I'll show you all of this properly soon, but let's just get up real close here onto the panel and see what level of detail we're talking about here. So a little bit of weathering built on here. It's a 1990s era machine. So that's about what you'd expect, I think, aesthetically. So I think the right choice has been made here artistically. Sort of not the highest resolution always evident here when you look around some of these dials, but like the edges too. The instruments themselves are good. I'm not complaining about the resolution of the instruments. That seems just fine. Maybe there's some of these edges here. You can see a little bit of pixelization, and I just noticed too, although that stitching on that glare shield from about your seated position here looks okay, I do notice it's painted on. I don't think it's modelled in there, but it seems to work aesthetically. Slightly glossy texturing there, I think. And there we go. I get it that this would be... Sorry to get out of that. I get it that this would be worn. I just think that pixelization there is a little bit apparent in a place where you can sort of in your view. Cup holder, well used, unsurprisingly. Yeah, so there you go. There's a little bit of a look at the level of detail you'd expect in the cockpit of this S76. Alright, seated in the pilot's chair, and here we go. So that power control lever and fuel system would be very familiar to you if you've had a go at Miltech's MH60 pack. A little bit more functionality here, a few more things are movable, and these are smoothly animated. You don't just move them forwards and backwards, or sorry, you don't just sort of click them into each successive position. These are actually movable. So I've just got them, I've only got one slider, so I've just put those onto one axis on a stick that I've got here. So that's how I've done that. Now let's just look at what we have here on the tablet. So what CowanSim has done is given a reasonably basic tablet kind of interface down here, but that's all good. I'll come back to the options. Checklist, which sort of mirrors what you'd expect here in the built-in checklist here. We just don't get those visibility tags there to sort of take you to where the instrument is, and in a complex flight deck like this, you're going to need to maybe just do a bit of study to learn where everything is. So that's what that is. Manual. Now this manual, 13 pages, it, as far as I can tell, is really just a list of bindings, which is good to have a list of bindings, but lacking somewhat in terms of maybe a bit of a walkthrough on how to maybe start up, get things going, some maybe common scenarios that you might face when you want to operate your new S76. A little bit lacking in the manual. A bit of a guide there to the rather sophisticated autopilot modes. These are actually impressive. I mean, when I first saw the list of what this autopilot does and its capabilities, I thought, wow, this is, CowanSim's really invested into this, and they have. So there's basically a list of what that does, and that's in here as well. But that's about it. So a little bit short on the documentation. I think that's been acknowledged. I don't know quite what the solution is, or whether Joshua Cowan's planning on giving us something a bit more detailed than that, but that's what we've got at the moment. Okay, options. So yes, we can toggle open and close the doors. You can show or hide the pilots. So just on the exterior, oh, I haven't reset that, so let's just pop out here. Whoa! So let's just get out here. So that's where I left everything before, and so I will toggle that door, so that's closed, and then nicely animated step there just retracts as well. Very nice work that, very good. And I think I might just have to actually just hop out. I don't know that I have... Yeah, I just don't know that I have any ability to control that. Am I missing something here? I don't think so. It looks like I might have to go and get outside and close that luggage hatch. Alright, so we've got our offshore customers ready to go back there. So let's get a few things ready here. What are we going to do? Here's the briefing. We have got a gentle southerly coming in here, and we are going to do a ground taxi over to the runway, take off to the south, and we'll take a right turn to these two visual reporting points out here before proceeding out to the North Sea, and we will make our way out to this oil and gas platform, Oseborg Sor, I believe. So yes, so that's what we will do from Bergen, Flesland, and I've obtained a freeware scenery just from flightsim.to for this flight, so thanks for uploading that one. Right, so I'm not going to run a whole checklist here, so we'll have to have to estimate this. I'm just going to advance these power levers forwards. Oops, there they go. A little bit harsh there, maybe. What I have learned, if you look at the input viewer there, is that I need to keep my non-center joystick very much in the center. Just as I slowly advance the power levers now. While I'm doing that, I can play the welcome message.
Good afternoon and welcome aboard the CowanSim S76. We're proud to have you flying with us today. Before we depart, please ensure your seatbelt is fastened low and tight across your lap. Remain seated at all times during flight and keep clear of the doors. This aircraft is equipped with emergency exits on both sides, and your pilot will guide you in the event of an emergency. We're committed to your comfort and safety, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
Yes, well, I hope they can rely on my instructions here. I'm just a beginner too, people, so we'll have to see how we go. So we'll just queue up the next message there, take off. All right, that's ready to go. Right, so what am I doing? I've advanced the levers here. We are full forwards there. We are green, green, green across the board. That's looking good. So we'll just try our gentle hover taxi here. The parking brake is now in. Oh, I've learned that I need to keep the... What is it? Ding, I've got... this is just like an airliner because we've got... where's my seatbelts? Cabin lighting. Oh, I can have that on. See what you're doing. Seatbelts. Oh. Bing bong. There we go. I can bing bong the cabin. Not too many helicopters you can do that. Alright, so we've got that. I'll just advance the collective, or lift the collective slightly, and then the machine will just get rolling by itself. The main rotor is canted forward somewhat. Air tracking on. So I don't really need to do anything with the cyclic to get us moving. I'm not going to do any ATC today. I'm just going to try my luck here at Bergen. A rogue driver. So if I don't keep my non-centering stick centered, I get some very strange readings on the engine cluster there, and the helicopter will start behaving very strangely. So it's very much to my benefit if I keep that non-centering stick centered, to the extent that I was almost considering dragging out an old centering stick. I thought that might actually be easier, but we seem to be doing okay here now. I'm just using the pedals to steer, doing just fine. Feels like we're going faster than 8 knots ground speed, but we are low to the ground. that sort of whining tone in the engine there is a bit mono and just maybe a little bit tiring in the ears. Sometimes I just find myself trying to turn that down a bit. So yes, Bergen has a heli terminal, probably for all these offshore flights, I imagine. Lots of traffic out to the North Sea and all these platforms. Perhaps not doing the greatest job staying on the line here, but anyway, let's keep going. I'm having to resist the urge. I've got, I think, a bit of a hill here that we're just struggling to get up. Come on, forward you go. Thank you. Struggling to, just resisting the urge to push forward on the cyclic because I just know that will cause me problems. Yes, what happens is you get this sort of over temp in the engines and an over torque, and it just goes a bit crazy. So it's just better to avoid that situation. And what's happened to the wind? I might have to readjust that. Sometimes I get sort of some odd things going in. Now it's still, what is it? Looks like about 8 knots. It's just come around to the west a bit, hasn't it? Oh, hello. Random jet going that way? Sure. Okay, we'll just get a couple of things ready here and we will be ready to go. So I'm just going to concentrate on a couple of important things, getting the autopilot right. And so we'll just lower the collective here, get my toe brakes on, and what am I going to do? I'm going to actually maybe just get the head tracking off at this point. It might be easier. And I'm going to make sure we're on SAS, yes, stability augmentation. I'm going to put on flight directed 2, which means my side, not the autopilot side. Why are we moving? Because I was leaning on the pedal, I think. I have chosen LNAV on this side, which means we're going to follow the FMS, which is, we can see what we've got here on the GNS 530. So that's all fine, I think. We've got a simple FMS down here as well. We can see the 4 waypoints in here. We've got some performance data going on in here. I'm not going to cover all of that in any great detail today. What's this? We've got that AC gen warning on here. I don't know if this is a bug or not. I'm just going to cycle that and then it goes. I'll just turn the alternator on and off and then it seems to be alright. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Alright, so we're looking all fine down here. I'm going to pre-select, what's that on there? 3,000 feet. And I'm going to, well, allow me to do that? No, because I'm not in attitude mode yet. So look, we'll just leave that for now. I'm going to be hand flying it out for those first couple turns. And we will deal with the rest of the autopilot later. Okay, I think I can cope with the rest of it now. Well, we'll find out, won't we? I'll just be embarrassing myself in front of an audience. But anyway, that's fine in the absence of a manual to tell me what to do. So what have I done on the lights? So let's just get the landing lights on. There's 2 lots of landing lights there, so that's what that all looks like when that's on. Don't know what's happened to my cast ring front wheel there. Okay, let's get into place here. Any other random jets want to spawn in? Looks like we might be okay. I do like taxiing around on the ground in a helicopter. It makes you feel very capable. So we'll do a bit of a rolling start here, but we'll be picking up very swiftly.
We're about to lift off. Please remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened. We'll be airborne shortly. Thank you for choosing CowanSim.
Okay, let's do it. Pulling the collective. I didn't like the fact I had so much cyclic in there, so pull more collective. Here we go. I don't know what the limit there is on the wheels for a rolling start, but what do they get up to there? About 15 knots? Just a bit of guesswork there. Temperatures and pressures are looking just fine. Looks like we just went momentarily into the red on the torque, so I'll just lower the collective very slightly. So we're already through 90 knots. Raise the gear. And what is that? A rotor speed warning? Okay, let's get this right turn in and we'll just assess where we're at. Alright, so that's not too bad. So let's start to get some of our autopilot modes in. We'll choose attitude here. Sometimes you just need to keep an eye on it at this point to make sure it's not doing anything too silly. So I've got the... It starts to sort of follow you a bit here, so you can maybe just using the hat switch now to see if I can stabilize it. I'll just probably get the head tracking off at this point. Okay, that seems to be alright. I'm being very cautious with it. Okay, so let's get an altitude in. So 3,000 feet, I think that's fine. 3,000 feet, so we'll pre-select that. Let us also synchronize our heading at this point. So we'll just hold and right click, and there's our heading bug moves there. And is that our heading? Yes. So, whoa. Okay. Alright, so that was a bit more dramatic than what I had hoped. And we're climbing a bit faster than what we need to. I'm just going to get vertical speed in, and now I'm just going to use my hat switch. You can see it coming down over here, 1,300, 1,200. 1,000 feet a minute is plenty, fast enough. So we're climbing at 1,000 feet a minute up to 3,000. We've only got 70 knots here on the forward speed now, so I might just need to bring that down a bit. Is that a rotor speed? Pulling a little bit more collective. I don't know that I've got the best feel for this machine just yet, but I'm working on it. So the torque's up there at 96, speed 57. So I've got slower than I had planned. But we're picking up now. We're over that hump, I think. So how are we looking on here? Good. We're going to intercept this on that kind of angle there, so I'm happy with that. So what I can do is arm. In fact, it's already captured it. I clicked in the nav mode arm, and it's already captured it. And so we're going to see that pre-select move onto alt as soon as it's passes 3,000 feet here. And I'll just be monitoring the speed. We're up to 100 now. It's looking a bit healthier. So I feel this has not been a complete disaster. I haven't exactly followed these visual reporting points, but I've been a bit too concerned with making sure I sort of got the autopilot right. In fact, one wonders why it's taken the last point and not these two. Anyway, that can be a mystery I solve for my full review, perhaps. So there we have it. We have climbed to 3,000 feet. We are now traveling at 129 knots. We are more or less on the what it thinks is the path that it's going to fly. I'm thinking that I'd rather be on that magenta line. Don't quite know where it got this from. I did choose FMS, so this line here is not quite all I thought it was going to be. Not quite. Why is that saying standby? Oh, I've probably just made a mistake somewhere, but maybe I should read the manual. Anyway, so now at 140 knots. We've really picked up speed here, so that's great. I might even just lower the collective very slightly now. So I don't need to be pushing into this red zone. I notice that red zone is different from this red zone. $139, good. So there's my DME receiver coming off the Flesland VOR. So I've dialed that in before I started recording. And we're looking pretty good. And that looks like it's just 10 miles to go on the FMS there, so we have performed just fine on the Autopilot. The Autopilot has done us proud. Thank you, S76, sophisticated Autopilot. So, just looking back over a couple of official communications from Cowan Simulations, there is some acknowledgement that there were a few issues with the Xbox controller control. So if that applies to you, if you are thinking of getting this product and you are using an Xbox controller, you might just want to have a quick reading up on the Cowan Simulations Discord to make sure that's all updated to your satisfaction. I have not had a chance to test that myself yet. Also, Joshua Cowan acknowledging the documentation and the shortcomings there, and talking about doing some updates in that area. I would note that there have been a couple of real-life pilots of the S76 active on the CowanSim Discord, and that's made a big difference to people like me who are keen to learn more, so I'll be doing some further reading there myself. So, yes, I do intend to bring you a full review, but I think I might sort of wait maybe a couple of weeks, because I want things to settle down, and I want to be able to represent the product in the best possible light. That looks like our platform there now at 7 miles out. Let's start to get things moving in here. So let's pre-select a new altitude. We'll get us down to 1,000 feet. We'll go VS again. This time I'll just show you that you can do it on here. You can just drag it down on that. So that's 1,000 feet a minute, and I'll just lower the collective as well. I haven't coupled the collective on this flight. I've just left the collective manual. So I've been controlling the airspeed myself. I didn't feel a need to change that. Ooh, that glare is fun, isn't it? I can just see the platform there. We're going to be approaching, we'll be doing a sort of a right turn manually out here, and we'll be approaching in with the sun on our right. The pad is on the sort of the northern end of the rig, so I don't anticipate any problems there. Let's start to get our landing lights on so I don't forget about that later on. That's the wipers, Matthew, that won't help. Landing lights retracted and on, and the pulse lights are on, yes. Okay, wing lights, not quite sure what they relate to. Okay, so how are we going here? We're at 2,000 feet now. We have lost too much speed, so I shall lift the collective a bit more. 4.4 miles to run. It's very easily handled. I think there's an obvious comparison here with the Hype Performance Group H145 and the H160. I mean, those were more modern helicopters, I should say are. I do notice that development seems to have ceased on those machines. I say seems to have. I don't know what might be happening behind the scenes there, but I think one of their main developers does not appear to be active at the moment, unfortunately. So we'll see what happens there in the fullness of time. But yes, different machines, more modern. And what I notice about this one, just on my first look here, is that the handling, I think it's a bit more natural. I actually quite like the way the CowanSim S76 handles. And also, furthermore, well, to just expand that thought on the Hype equivalent comparison. Now, what's happened here? We are still in VS, and I didn't have the altitude pre-select on, so my bad. So I'll just bring that. No, that's the wrong way. Let's level off it. Let's get that at 0 now. Yes, I forgot to go alt pre, so we have not leveled off. So we'll just hold our altitude here and just sort of cruising like this. Is that I found myself, because I just found that in Hype's development a year or two ago, there was just like sort of endless updates to the way the thing handled and flew. And it was just a very mechanical feeling to me, that machine. I know some people loved it, and I don't mean to take away from your love of it or the good work that was put into it. I just find that this is a bit more of a natural feeling, this machine, even though it's very early days and has a bit of work to do, obviously. So that's my first impression of that. And with the way that this S76 is handling also makes me think, gosh, I wish the Miltech MH60 had this kind of interface between the autopilot and the hand flying. Let's get the gear down. Three greens. Okay, I'm going to, at this point, get the head tracking back on. Reset that. Bit of a mess. We'll get ourselves back onto SAS over here, and we'll just keep it in view here and lower the collective slightly so we will lose speed. Okay, that looks good. So let's do a turn out to the right. Yeah, I just find the handling of this actually feels like a proper helicopter, unlike a certain amount of artifice, let's say, that I've noticed in those other machines. So I think Cowan Simulations is very much onto the right track here with this. It's, I've noticed, very sensitive to things like my controller not being centered. So that's not great. But I mean, the adaptation, I suppose, is just to make sure that it's centered. So I'm doing my best. Oh, this is great. It's nice to actually have a machine that is finally capable of, or designed for and built for, flying to oil rigs. I mean, MSFS 2024 has got all these amazing, I guess they're procedurally generated, these platforms. But they're so detailed, and so finally a machine like this CowanSim S76 that can take advantage of them, I'm thrilled. Now, I just realised that I have not put the parking brake on, so I'm going to just try and quickly do that and lose track of what I'm doing. That wasn't quite tidy, Matthew. Now we're getting a bit low, so concentration, please. I just need to keep it just out to the right slightly so I can see it. So the visibility over the glare shield is not great. I think that's just the virtue of the design of the machine. And how are we going here? Whoa, a little bit fast. Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. Pretty happy with that. Well, here's the replay, and yeah, so look, I'm feeling pretty positive about the S76. I know maybe the launch has not been the most trouble-free experience, but look, I think there's a really positive platform to build on here, and I hope that Josh is going to stick with it and keep updating. What's this landing going to look like here? Oh, not too bad. Oof, a little bit hard onto the main gear maybe, but not too bad. Not too bad. So, yeah, no, I'm feeling really positive. I'm really happy to have a machine that is suited to this kind of work. And I look forward to being able to do this kind of flying and maybe some HEMS flying and, you know, some luxury flying as well, you know, in sort of busy, congested airspace. I think this could be really well suited to flights on VATSIM in, you know, with live air traffic control and busy airspaces, following real-life procedures. I think this could be a lot of fun, great challenge once you've got your head around how the autopilot works and getting all your flight planning right. So I think this machine is well worth checking out if it seems to be your sort of thing. I would say maybe it's worth getting onto the Cowan Simulation Discord and just have a look at things like bugs, bug reports, update schedules, announcements from Josh about what's happening there, just to make sure that it suits your expectations of what you're looking for. I do intend to do a full review, one of my mega reviews that takes so long to make, but hopefully they're useful to you in getting your head around how things work and how to make the most out of a complex machine like this one. And of course, for more helicopter content on MSFS 2024, there is so much on my channel. I hope you will check that out. So I'll see you in another video real soon. See ya.